Never mind, thank you. Thank you. Okay, seeing it as it is 8 o'clock, the Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023 regular meeting of the Gardner City Council Finance Committee will come to order. The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kaczynski.
Present.
Council Cormier.
Present.
And Council Delaware.
Present.
Is anyone here recording today's meeting? No recordings. We will begin with the review and approval of the June 6, 2023 and July 3rd, 2023 meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
To waive the reading of the minutes and accept them as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Darlot, seconded by Councilor Cormier to waive the reading of the minutes and accept them as presented. Is there a discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no.
Aye.
Do we need a roll call if he's on the phone or no?
Oh, actually, thank you. Yes, we'll do a roll call because Councilor Cormier is on the phone today. The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kaczynski.
Yes.
Council Cormier.
Yes.
And Council Delaware.
Yes.
3 yeses, the motion passes. Item 11033, a measure authorizing acceptance of donations and gifts for use by Mayor's Department Summer Celebration Account banner sponsorships. We have a few of these on the agenda today. Mayor Nicholson.
Thank you, Madam President. This is for the banners that you see hanging in the downtown area. To replace the ones that we had last year. They are themed for the city's centennial celebration this year. My office did receive a request for further documentation on this item. So regarding the price of the banner, so we know how much the donations have been for. So here are for the packet, the sponsorship forms that show that each banner has a cost of $200. And we'll get to the list of individuals who have purchased more than one banner. That way you can see how much each individual donated. That was the question that my office received from Councilor Walsh, was how much is each donation that we're accepting here today?
Thank you. Okay, so the price per banner is $200.
Correct. The majority of these only purchased one banner.
And the majority only purchased one banner. Okay. Is there questions or comments from the committee?
So these were banner costs and banner donations, yeah.
Yeah, it covers the cost of the bracket and the materials to print it.
Any further questions, comments from the committee?
Make a motion that we recommend acceptance.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Cormier, seconded by Councilor Darlot to recommend acceptance of the donations. Any discussion on the motion? The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kaczynski.
Yes.
Council Cormier.
Yes.
And Council Delaware.
Yes.
3 yeses, motion passes. Item 11034, a measure authorizing acceptance of donations and gifts for use by Mayor's Department Summer Celebration Account flower pot sponsorship. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. This is for the 275 flower pots that we have throughout the city, downtown, South Gardner, and on Elm Street. The cost per donation was $200, or cost per sponsorship was $200 per flower pot. That includes the cost of the flowers for both plantings and some other aspects when it comes close to the cost associated with maintaining. My office received a request for further information, so here is the sponsorship form that was sent out earlier this spring for the packet, and if there's any questions, happy to answer those as well.
So these items you're giving us today, these will be included in the council packet,
Correct.
so they'll have the information. Thank you.
Yes.
Make a motion to recommend acceptance.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Darlot, seconded by Councilor Cormier to recommend acceptance of the donations. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say, I'm sorry. The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kaczynski.
Present? Yes.
Council Cormier.
Yes.
And Council Delaware.
Yes.
3 yeas, the motion passes. Item 11035, a measure authorizing acceptance of donations and gifts for use by Mayor's Department Summer Celebration Summer Kickoff Sponsorship. Mayor Nicholson?
Thank you, Madam President. These are the sponsors that covered the cost of the summer kickoff concert that we had on the front steps of City Hall in late June. We received a lot of positive feedback for the event that was held from the people who attended, and the breakdown of who sponsored at what sponsor level is included in the packet.
Make a motion, we recommended acceptance in full council.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Derlot, seconded by Counselor Cormier, to recommend acceptance to full council. Is there discussion on the motion? The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kazinskas?
Yes?
Counselor Article?
Yes.
And Counselor Delaware?
Yes.
3 yeas, the motion passes. Item 11036, a measure of authorizing acceptance of donations and gifts for use by Mayor's Department Summer Celebration Account. Welcome to Gardner sign. This is a little bit different than the last three, as this is a donation from the North Central Massachusetts Development Corporation. Mayor Nicholson?
Thank you, Madam President. My office had received a request for further information on this. Attached is a press release and a picture of the sign that was sent out. The North Central Massachusetts Development Corporation, the Johnny Appleseed Trail Association, and the North Central Massachusetts Chamber are reaching out to all of the members that are covered by those three different organizations to install new welcome signs. This welcome sign was installed in the corner of 140 and Green Street by Mount Wachusett Community College, Faith Lutheran Church, and the Gardner Municipal Golf Course. So that has been installed over there, and it had a cost of $8,600 for the installation.
And there's only one of these signs in Gardner, I just want to be clear. Okay.
Yes.
That was donated by the North Central Mass Development
Yes.
Corporation. Okay. Questions, comments from the committee?
Make a motion to recommend acceptance.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Derlot, seconded by Counselor Cormier to recommend acceptance to full council. Is there discussion on the motion? The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kazinskas?
Yes?
Counselor Article?
Yes.
And Counselor Delaware?
Yes.
3 yeas, motion passes. Item 11037, an order transferring $39,643.48 FY 2023 appropriations from various DPW salaries and wages to FY 2020. Is that supposed to say 2024? 2020, okay, to FY 2023 various operating expenditures. We have DPW Director Dean Arnold here, and Devin, whoever would like to go ahead.
Do you want to?
Sure. At the end of the year, we had a shortfall on, I believe, 6 line items. The largest one being the street lighting account. The budget was funded at 90 grand. The final bill came in at $122,000, so I'm short $32,000. I happen to have that money left in my salary account, unfortunately, because of the shortfall of staff. So I'm able to transfer from salary account down to operating, which I need council approval for that to cover the shortfall. So it's the largest one is street lighting. There was one for snow and ice at $718. That was a bill that we didn't know was coming in. So that was one that we again cover under a salary account. Vehicle fuel, which is about $1,200. Again, that's fuel for all city vehicles that we needed to cover in that shortfall. One for energy, and there's actually a couple for energy and utilities. Just taken out of 2 line items. One is out of maintenance, the salary maintenance crew, and the other one's out of clothing allowance, which was funded at full staff, but so there's that. Repairs and maintenance, which is that's almost $1,300. That's again the maintenance of all the city's vehicles. That was a shortfall in that as well, and a shortfall in professional services, which covers like code red and pest control and the porta potties throughout the city. So that covers.
Really just cleaning up the books for the end of the fiscal year with the money that we had.
Okay, questions, comments from the committee? Thank you.
With the lighting item kind of semi-related, the LED request for the cost to get dropped down, is that going to affect us going forward?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Going forward, the city engineer is working still with National Grid. We did get a preliminary response from them, but it didn't have all the street lights on it, so he's working on finding all the lights that they missed to make sure that those are included.
Okay, so that's still ongoing. That's all I had. I make a motion to recommend approving the transfer to the full council.
Second.
Motion made by
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Derlot, seconded by Counselor Cormier to recommend approval of the transfer to the full council. Is there a discussion on the motion? The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kazinskas?
Yes?
Counselor Article?
Yes.
And Counselor Delaware?
Yes.
3 yeas, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 11038, a measure to create and authorize acceptance of donations and gifts for use by City of Gardner, Gardner Waterford Street building. Mayor Nicholson?
Thank you, Madam President. My office received a request for further information on this as well.
Okay.
This is a gift account so that we can receive either gifts or private entity grants for the renovations that are set to take place at Waterford Street School. Right now, in speaking with the city auditor, unless it's a government-given grant, it needs a gift account for us to be able to accept it, because if it's from a nonprofit, it's actually considered a donation from the nonprofit rather than a full-out grant for the legal definition that he needs for his accounting side of things with our auditors. So this would allow us to go after private grant funding for the work being done at Waterford Street School. It would allow for any gifts to be done if anyone wants to, which people have already tried to donate money towards the project there, or donate furniture towards the project there. These are all things that we need to have a gift account in place in order to be able to accept those donations. The information that was requested was what's going on with the building in the end. What is the plan that was given out still the same plan that we have now? The answer is yes. That's why what's in front of you is the map and the article from the Gardner News that was released last year. That is still the plan there. The land that the school does sit on is considered Article 97 land. So there is some stuff that we need to do before we can get the leases out. However, the plan is still the plan that we hope for in the long run.
Okay, and so.
And this is just to create the gift account so we can accept grant funding
So
for private entities.
So say like the senior center receives a private grant for some of themselves that they may have applied for, does that, if it's work on the building,
it could go into this account. The senior center does have their own gift account for senior center purposes.
Sure.
But if we can go after a grant from a nonprofit for kitchen upgrades,
Sure.
that's something that we could put in that account here.
Thank you. Further questions, comments from the committee? Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we recommend creation of the gift account.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Donat, seconded by Councilor Cormier to recommend creation, authorization, and acceptance of donations for this gift account. Is there discussion on the motion? The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kazinskas?
Yes?
Councilor Cormier?
Yes.
And Councilor Donat?
Yes.
3 yeses, the motion passes. Item 11039, an order authorizing the city to borrow $550,000 for Waterford Street School renovations. Mayor Nicholson, so this is a loan order that is being requested. Go ahead.
That is correct, Madam President. This is a loan order being requested for renovations to be done to the building. This would cover the work that's been done on the old junior high side, the old classroom wing for HVAC, painting, some other work that's been done over there. This is on top of the $400,000 earmark that we received from the Commonwealth in last year's budget. We've gone after about $60,000 in private grant funding. We've got $100,000 from our own ARPA appropriation that we have left over that's set for this project. This would be on top of all of that work in order to fully, renovate the building and bring it up to where it needs to be before it can get leased out. And one of those, you almost have to spend money to make money on the leases later on. The business plan to pay it off would be through the leases that we receive after. Some of the aspects of the project and the work that's been done so far, the lease values and what we plan on moving forward, the process on how we move forward from here, the way for this $550,000 to be spent towards the construction of the project and stuff like that can certainly be more ironed out. Because of some of the sensitive nature of some of those, I'd request if we do those, it'd be done in an executive session in front of the full council.
Okay, so this is a lot of money. This is $550,000. So, and your letter is very thorough, but I would expect more of an explanation from you to the council, because I think there is going to be a lot of questions about that, and I think if there is something sensitive and it needs to be done in executive session, then I would expect that explanation to happen at that time as well. In
light of that, I'd like to make a motion that we recommend, our recommendation will be that this be referred to the council committee as a whole, so that these questions can be answered both in regular and executive session.
I don't think we need to have a committee of the whole meeting. I think with the mayor's suggestion of an executive session, that's where I would anticipate to get the information and,
Well, it would serve the same purpose as the committee of the whole. So,
well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think if there's sensitive information, I would rather have that happen during executive session. If there's something that we need to discuss there and make sure that we're doing what we need to do in the right procedure. I think if there is, Mr. Mayor, if there is, sensitive information that for some reason shouldn't be shared with the public at this time regarding that.
There are certain strategy
Then I don't-
items and real estate values, those all fall into the exemptions that allow for executive session.
Because that's my hesitation for having committee of the whole. So Councilor Cormier, I certainly understand that piece of it, but I think the executive session would be the best place to cover that at this point. Councilor.
what is fine, but there's no need for a recommendation from the, finance committee can't make a recommendation at this point of any sort without that information.
I would like to make a motion at least to get it on the council calendar, and then we can.
That's right.
So we can hear what the mayor has to present during the executive session, and then be able to make that as an assessment as a full council and possibly vote or not vote on it during the council meeting next week. We can make that decision both during the executive session and the regular council meeting when that happens.
I'll second that thought.
Okay. So I think in the form of a motion, we can
I guess we have
recommend executive session.
officially. I guess we have Councilor Cormier's motion on the floor before mine, so I guess we have to do.
Yeah, I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll make my motion to place it on the full council calendar, and obviously up to your prerogative to schedule executive session for the full council as well.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay, thank
I
you.
repent of this discussion.
So motion made by Councilor Delat, seconded by Councilor Cormier, to place the item on the council calendar, and then at the request of the council president to schedule an executive session regarding the matter. Is there discussion?
Just want to reiterate, as you both said, this is a lot of money. Normal course of action. I know as we place this committee of the whole, discuss it further. Don't want to make it seem like we're skipping that. It seems there's again more information to be heard during executive session, and as soon as we are able to get that information out to the public when it's not sensitive to be sent out, that will be done.
And I also want to say, Mr. Mayor, I think your letter is thorough. I think you addressed it, but there's just, again, it's a lot, and there's this obviously we just need to have that information, and I want the whole council to be sure they have it.
Yep.
Further discussion? The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kazanskas?
Yes?
Councilor Cormier?
Yes.
And Councilor Delat?
Yes.
3 yeses, the motion passes. Item 11040, in order appropriating $115,000 from available funds, sale of city property reserved to GRA Rear Main Street Capital Project. Mayor Nicholson?
Thank you, Madam President. This is funding that we actually received due to the sales of the properties we had last year. If we sell a property that was not obtained through the tax title process, it falls to the special reserve fund rather than to the general fund revenue. If we sell a property that was taken in tax title, then it does fall to the general fund. But this comes from properties that we sold that we obtained through other means other than the tax taking process. The uses of these funds can be put towards any capital project, any purchase of property, or anything that the city can go out to bond for if we were to go out to bond for that amount. This amount here would allow us to purchase the last piece, one of the last couple pieces of properties that we need for the Rear Main Street project. Behind the former Sergeant Law Office, the previous owner of the building did not enter into negotiations with the city nor the GRA to purchase that property. The new owner of the building has agreed to sell that property for the city, sell that property to the GRA so that we can complete the parking lot portion of that project. We are still in negotiations with Cumberland Farms through the GRA for the private residential portion of that project. So there's still some stuff that needs to be done on this end, but this would allow us to get started on the public portion of it. About $50,000 of this funding is going towards the purchase of the property. $10,000 is going towards the incidentals that come with the purchase of a property, because we are reimbursing the Gardner Redevelopment Authority for these costs. So that's their attorney's fees, their closing costs, their things of that nature. There's an appraisal that needs to be done on the site as well too, because the appraisal we have is over 1.5 years old, and those become stale after 12 months. So we need a new appraisal. So that's included in that $10,000. And then the remaining amount is to allow for the GRA to go work with their engineers to add that into the new engineering survey and design of the property, because the current design does not have this portion of the property included in it, because the previous owner was still, and we had a stalemate with the previous owner in not being able to purchase that property. Now that we have, we can actually edit in and make it a full project there. So that's what the funding's going toward. Prior to the council meeting, I'll be sure to send out the full new design of the property as to where it stands conceptually. The reason why we're looking at about $54,000 for the new design is that has everything from dimensions of all of the different aspects that go into it, the sidewalks, the wiring, the utilities, and everything like that that goes into it, that has to be included. There's also potentially a new public restroom facility that's looking at being done in that area that would be included in this new engineering stuff. So there's more than just the conceptual design that's going into that that's caused that price to go up, but that's all covered in this appropriation here, so we can just get that project going up and running and hopefully have a late fall groundbreaking for it this year.
Okay, thank you. Director Cormier, you're here, I'm assuming it might be for this piece?
No,
okay, just want to make sure. Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the committee?
With the assessment being whatever 18 months old, however it is there any inkling that it could come in any significantly higher?
I don't believe so. Plus we've already got an agreement with the property owner for the sale price. It's just one of those, you have to check it off for DHCD purposes with the GRA.
Okay.
Further questions, comments from the committee?
Make a motion to recommend the appropriation to the full council.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Jarlatt, seconded by Councilor Cormier to recommend the appropriation to the full council. Is there discussion on the motion?
Madam President, just to point out, I did put in my letter that there's $136,069.69 in the reserve account. This would take 115 out of that, but I did just sign the deed for Prospect Street School the other day. So we'll be getting the $100,000 check for the sale of that deposit into this account sometime within the next month or two.
Thank you.
Net vote down 15, then about $15,000 between 100 coming out.
Yeah.
115 coming out, 100
And I'll be
coming
going in. Yeah, about, yeah.
Thank you. I just have to say that I just continue to be impressed on the work that the GRA does, like that we have that year in Gardner as a resource and things that we're able to do. It's so active, and it's certainly something that we benefit so much from here in the city. So I'm just so glad that the work that they do, and I'm excited to see the new design and how it's going, because we're Main Street looks awesome, and it definitely complements so much about our downtown area of the city. Further discussion? The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kaczynskis?
Yes?
Councilor Cormier?
Yes.
Councilor Jarlatt?
Yes.
3 yeses, the motion passes. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Jarlatt, seconded by Councilor Cormier to adjourn. The clerk will please call the roll.
President Kaczynskis?
Yes?
Councilor Cormier?
Yes.
And Councilor Jarlatt?
Yes.
3 yeses, the meeting stands adjourned. Thank you, everyone.